Darwinian capitalism. What do those things mean? We have a heavily regulated economy. We regulate against theft and fraud, which are the only things that we ought to be regulating against. Yet you talk about your opposition to what you call Darwinian capitalism. That's the kind of thing you hear on Air America. What does that mean?
Well, I can define it how I mean it.
Please do.
For instance, I think that, I'll give you a perfect example. When you allow Walmart to essentially write trade policies with China, where they tell their vendors, move your manufacturing to China or we won't purchase from you. And then we benefit from a cheaper toaster oven at Walmart.
So you want a law telling Walmart, don't tell your vendors to cut their costs. That's unfair.
I think we pay a price for it when we lose manufacturing in America. And there was a time...
Unreal.
Well, listen, Larry...
unreal.
You're not even giving me a chance to explain this, so what's the point? You have made a decision that somehow you're a mind reader, and you just said what you wanted. You said you want Walmart not to be able to tell... I got a sentence out before you talked over me.
Not to send your suppliers to China. What Walmart is saying is, in order to get your costs down, you're going to have to get your labor costs down, and you can do that by putting a factory in China, and if you don't do that, I'm going to go to another supplier. That's business.
Yeah, and there was a time when American business, and not that long ago, by the way, had an interest in the success of this country.
Walmart employs people, Doug. They employ people,
and they also unemploy people, Larry, because when manufacturing jobs that were supplies in the United States go out of business, then guess what? Those are American jobs that are lost.
What do you think Walmart's competitors are going to do? Including European competitors who don't give a rip about you and your desire to keep companies and jobs here. They've got competitors, and if they don't stay competitive, they will go out of business. And then what are you going to say?
Larry, here's the bottom line on this. I believe that the corporations pay lip service to America, that they are national neutral. They don't have a particular vested interest in the success of this country. They have a success in the price of their stock, which can be purchased from anywhere in the world. And there was a time back in, let's take it the Cold War days, when companies like IBM could have made a lot of money by selling computers to Russia. They didn't. It would have been bad for America. And I think that the companies that are American companies ought to have some custodial responsibility to this country.
They do, Doug. They have a fiduciary responsibility. It's called maximizing profit. That's what companies are supposed to do within the law. Now, when companies don't sell to people that we have enemies, that's about national security. Within the law, their job is to make profits. That ensures stability for their employees, that ensures good prices for their consumers, and that ensures a return on equity for their investors. That is their job, Doug.
I recognize that, Larry. I just don't think it's an absolute the way you do, and that's why I call it Darwinian capitalism, because I do believe that when you ship jobs to China, a nation that is committed to the destruction of this nation, that's rolling their enormous GDP into military technology and submarines and missile systems and a space program, and we are providing the technology and the capital to do so, I don't think that's good for America.
Ship jobs to China.
Yes.
What we're doing is buying goods low cost. And if you don't do it, your competitor will. Whether you're manufacturing shoes or manufacturing televisions, if you don't get your costs down, your competitors will, and foreign companies will come here and they will take market share. And if you don't get that, you're not involved in free markets. You don't believe in capitalism, despite what you say.
Okay. Well, again, I don't know who appointed you the judge and jury on definitions, but
I know what a believer in free markets is, and you're not one.
Well, I'm not one, according to Larry. No, but that doesn't mean that I'm a phony conservative. You voted for Arnold. I voted for McClintock.
Arnold is a Republican. Arnold is not a Democrat. Arnold did not raise taxes. Arnold is not an
Arnold has raised taxes. They just call them fees. Arnold has been raising taxes the entire time.
Okay, all right, Doug, I will concede that I'm very disappointed in Arnold Schwarzenegger. That does not mean that I'm going to vote for a lefty in order to punish Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is what you're doing in order to punish Bush and John McCain.
Well, listen, Larry, I can only bottom line it this way. The California Republican Party has ceased to exist because it doesn't mean anything. And unless we're going to regenerate the party with talent that actually has a belief system, we're going to continue to either puke up mediocrities or phonies, or we're going to continue to lose elections.
By voting for somebody who may have 8 years with a Nancy Pelosi and a Harry Reid and have 3 Supreme Court justices and take us into the direction that I would have thought you wouldn't have wanted to go in, all to punish the party for not being pure enough.
Larry, if he is as bad as you believe he will be, he will lose the House and the Senate in 2 years, and he will be a one-term president. There are correctives for these things, but there are not correctives if we continue to blindly support a party that throws away its own principles.
Well, Doug, bottom line is, in the event that the fairness doctrine comes back in, I think KABC has us covered.
Well, that's fine. Whatever. You can be dismissive, and I know that you find me confusing because I see many shades of gray and you see everything in black and white. I just don't see the world that way, Larry. But I will tell you this. I have great respect for the way that you argue your case. What I do resent, and it's my only resentment, is when you characterize me as a phony, fake conservative. That's not your call. That's not your call to read what's in my mind and my heart. It's not your call. It's not your place.
When you purport to have principles and then you violate those principles, I don't know what word would be appropriate.
I have a
confused,
how about this, Larry?
Ambiguous, insincere. I don't know what to say, Doug. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it bothers me. It bothers me that I'm on here every day trying to explain free market principles, limited government, how much more productive and humane that is, and to have you undermine it by saying things like corporatist and like Darwinian capitalism.
Well, Larry,
I'm offended by that.
If you want to define the Republican Party as narrowly as you see it, you'll lose every election. The Republican Party has many different colors in it. It has many different spectrums in it. We used to be a party that had people like, yes, Jacob Javits, and people like Bill Weld, and people like, yes, Mitt Romney, who until he decided to run for president was running as essentially a liberal governor of Massachusetts. The party is made up of many pieces.
Well,
if you want to purge the party and just have people who see the world according to Larry, you'll lose every single election.
I want to purge the party of the Michael Moores and the Sean Penns and the Dennis Kuciniches, and they're the ones who rail and rail and rail about things like Darwinian capitalism. That's not a Republican. I don't know what it is. Doug, we're out of time, honestly.
Well, listen, wait a second.
Way long in the segment.
Larry, you're not going to leave me hanging as a Michael Moore. If you put me in a category of Michael Moore, you're a demagogue.
I don't know what to say. Doug. For somebody to have the positions that you have and are okay with nationalized health care, and Michael Moore did a whole documentary on that.
Oh,
I don't know what to say.
Larry,
I don't know what to say.
It is beneath you to make that argument. And the people who have been listening to me on KABC for 8 years know that this is ridiculous.
Well, fair enough.
That you're putting me into the same.
I'm sorry. Your feelings are hurt, but that's the way people. That's the way people act when they can't defend their positions effectively. And I don't think you did, Doug.
When people paint with a broad brush like a demagogue, that's a failed argument.
Okay.
Too.
All right, Doug.
Yeah, I'm Michael Moore. Please,
okay.
Larry, that's beneath you.
Thank you for calling. 1-800-222-5222. This is Larry Elder. Your calls when we come back.
No subscriptions to buy, no monthly fees, no fooling. 790 KABC, now broadcasting.